Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the April celebration of poetry meeting for the Diamond Valley Writers Guild. We have some new faces here in the audience. Looking forward to getting to know some new members and also attendees who are trying to decide if we're an organization they want to be affiliated with, and some faces we haven't seen in a while in the audience. And it's always good to see old friends. Those people on Zoom, if you could please mute your mics so that we don't end up with some cross chatter that was unintended. Before we get started into our agenda, I need to make an announcement, and that is that Jim Hitt, who was a longtime member of the Guild, passed away last Sunday. He grew up in Dallas, Texas, and he graduated from North Texas State University with an MA in English and History. He taught high school and community college in California for over 30 years, was a guest lecturer for the Gene Autry Museum, and a member of the Western Writers of America. His published works include The Courage of Others, Carney, The Shadows, Bodie, and Words and Shadows, Literature on the Screen, and American West, From Fiction to Film. Those last two were nonfiction. The others were fiction. Jim was instrumental in the formation of the Diamond Valley Writers Guild and served a term as our president. Jim was an amazing writer whose voice permeated every sentence of his work. For many years and until his passing, he remained the heart and soul of a critique group hosted at his residence, tirelessly helping other writers improve their work. So I'd just like a moment of silence for Jim. Okay, thank you very much. On to website, Kevin, our vice president, who is in Canada. He's going to give us some updates on a couple of things.
So can you guys see my screen?
No. Yes. Yes, we can.
Oh, so this is our website. I was going to go over a couple of things that have changed on the website. One is the new newsletter sign up, which on the home page is located right here on in the main picture. All you do is type in your name and your email address and click subscribe, and then go check your email. If you don't see a message within 5 minutes, check your spam folder. Eventually, you will see an email that shows like this that you will receive. It's pretty nondescript, but it says to confirm your email address, and all you do is click confirm and you're subscribed. So that's how to change over to our new newsletter system, which we're going to start using, I do believe, next month. So if you want to continue receiving the shout outs and everything, I highly recommend going there and getting yourself added to our new system. The other thing that I've added to the website, or have added a while ago, is once you are logged into the website, if you can see up in the top right corner, I am logged into the website. You can go to the member book page, and all these ones with the stars, that requires you to be logged in, but you can actually just fill in the form and add your book right here. And all you need is a URL now, because I've got a program that actually goes out to whatever this URL is and gets your cover, your blurb, all the stuff about your book and where to purchase it. And that's literally as easy as it can get. Likewise, for the shout outs, you can go to the contact area and submit a shout out that way too. And it tells you what you can put in for a shout out and stuff, and you just type in your information. And because you're already logged in, it already fills in your email address and stuff for you, so we don't get any mistyped emails and all that kind of stuff. And if you haven't paid your membership fees, the Join Renew page has also got, it requires you to log in before you pay, because I was getting a lot of untrackable signups because people weren't paying up and then they were joining under a second email address. So it caused all kinds of issues. So it requires you to sign up now, but literally you can, once you're signed in, you just go to your pay your dues and click the pay membership dues. Other than that, I think that's all I've added to the website recently, short of a couple of new member books. And I've added a couple more things to the resources area if you're interested. stuff like Authors Published Magazine, where to get ISBN numbers, Chicago Manual Style Link, all that kind of stuff. So I'm starting to add stuff here. If you have something to add to this, please use the Contact Us form and send it in, and I will happily add that or research that resource to add to for all members to use. Back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. He's doing a great job, isn't he? I'll tell you, having a web designer for vice president is a definite benefit. And I'll tell you. Okay, let's move on to the shout outs. We have a couple of upcoming changes that also involve our new newsletter format. Lynette?
Hey, everybody. We are very excited because we are going to have a brand new newsletter, and that's going to include our shout outs. So we're going to have a little bit of a change this month. We are going to have the submission deadline be the 20th of each month for all new book releases, celebrations, and the sort of things that we always put in the shout outs. But the 20th of each month will be for the following month. So April 20th, which is coming up in just 2 days, will be the deadline for the May book releases and the information there. Because it's so late in the month and we are transitioning to this brand new format, and you guys are going to love it, we're going to combine April and May book releases, and then it will go into its regular rhythm. So if you have a shout out to send it within the next couple of days, and we'll get it on there. And you guys are going to be really excited about it. And I'm glad that Kevin just showed you how you can go forward on our website. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But this is good stuff coming.
Thank you, Lynette. Lynette has been doing our shout outs for about, 3-4 years now, every month. So give her a round of applause. She's also on the board of directors and is a huge resource for the Guild. She handles our social media. The newsletter is going to be captained by Aaron Schock. Aaron, so unmute for a second and say a couple. Do you have anything to say to anybody about what kind of information you need for you to be able to put into the newsletter? If not, we can put you on the spot next month.
Hello, everyone. For the newsletter, we will transition, like Lynette was mentioning, the shout out. So your book releases, major events that are happening, maybe book signings, major events happening in the community. This will become a one-stop resource that will come out each month. So you'll be able to keep on track of everything that's happening through the Guild. So very excited to help support in this area.
Thank you, Erin. She stepped up, and boy, does she know what she's doing. Let me tell you, the newsletter looks fabulous. You're going to love it when it comes out in May. Thank you, Erin. Jessica, member benefits.
I wasn't ready. But most of you already know my spiel. But for those of you who don't, I am Jessica. I am the treasurer of the Guild, and I'm the one that has to ask for your money. So if you like what we do here and you want to see it continue, please do consider joining as a member. Membership is how we keep running. We like to keep it affordable for everybody. Hold on, I have to pull up my notes. To make sure that everyone can still participate, but that we can be here for everyone else. Okay, I can't find my notes, so we're going to riff it. Here we go. Now, membership, of course, it gives us money, but it also gives you opportunity. If you would like to participate in our Guild publications, such as that beautiful book Menagerie, if you would like to participate in future Guild publications, you do have to be a member in order to submit for those. It allows your books, anything published, to be put on the website. It also allows you to participate in Guild reading meetings like this one today. We have 2 a year. We have April Poetry, and then we have October Prose Reading. Poetry is in April, where you get to share your poem or a poem you really like. And in October, that's my favorite meeting. That's when you get to share your work, your actual story that you have written for the Guild. You get to share and give back, and it's awesome. If you want to join, we have a tiered payment list. We have the general membership, which is for anyone outside of high school or college, and that is $30 per year. We like to make sure where it's one-time payment and you only renew once a year. We also have a $15 college and a $10 high school fee. So if you want to join, or you know any youngsters that want to join and get into a community, please have them come sit in on a meeting, and if they really, really like it, they can join as a member. Now, you don't have to be a member in order to sit in these public meetings every month. It's only to participate in the Guild publications and the reading meetings and shout outs. And there's one other thing I feel like I'm forgetting. Run for office. That's right. If you see what we do up here and you also want to flounder in front of an audience of like a dozen people, you can run for office. We have 5 Guild positions for the board of directors. We have president, vice president, we have treasurer, we have secretary, she's back there on her computer as she always is, and then we have our member at large. If you like what we do and you want to be a part of it and help the Guild keep running, you have to be a member in good standing in order to run for office. We always like to have more people involved and getting to know how the Guild runs behind the scenes. I don't think I missed anything. Some of the regulars, did I miss anything? All right, then I'm going to get off the mic. You have a great meeting.
What she doesn't say is that she also has to file taxes every year. So it's a big job. Being treasurer of a nonprofit is not an easy job. So let's give her a round of applause, please. One more thing, kind of piggybacking on that. If you are in the anthology and you have not received your complimentary copy and your check, because we did pay our authors this time around, see Jessica after the meeting. Okay, not during the meeting, but after the meeting, and pick up your copy and your check, your contributor's check. Speaking of volunteers, she kind of touched on that. Obviously, the board of directors is one way to volunteer. Our elections are in October, so they're coming up rather quickly. I have it on good authority. One of our board members intends to retire, so there will be a mandatory opening for anybody who might be interested. If you want more information, as we get closer, I'll get you more information. But if you would like to speak with me after the meeting or email one of us, we'll be happy to talk to you about how you can gear up to volunteer to be one of the board members, one of our directors. Accountability groups, I keep announcing this. If you are interested in starting up an accountability group, and what that is, it doesn't necessarily have to be a critique group, although those are fun too. But a group, maybe you're a romance author or a children's literature author or a young adult author, and you want to start a group that meets every month or twice a month or once a week via Zoom for accountability, to keep each other on track, to kind of motivate each other, maybe run ideas past each other. It's lonely being a writer, and we write and avoid, and so it's important to network. It's important to be in the community with other writers. So if you have somebody out there, if one of you would like to start up an accountability group, please contact us. We'd be happy to support that. We're also looking for people to do our monthly tips, writing tips, tech tips that involve writing, website, whatever, 5-minute tips. So if you have an expertise in a particular subject that relates to writing or literature or poetry or the nuts and bolts of how to put words on the page, grammar, punctuation, whatever, your pet peeve in writing, and you want to do a tip on how to avoid your pet peeve, contact us and we'll try to get you on the list for that as well. And then finally on volunteers, tech team for our hybrid. What we're doing right now is live Zoom interactive with people from all across the country, and even like my vice president, Kevin there, who is probably very cold today, is in Canada. He's in Calgary, Canada. So we have members, and Lynette's in Montana. So we do, and Aaron is in Missouri. So we do have a variety of members that are not local. And in order to keep this up, you see all the equipment, the Guild owns all of this equipment. We need people to come and volunteer in the mornings, help us set up, learn how to use the equipment. If you ever wanted to do that, feel free to contact us and we'll get you set up with a little volunteerism. Okay, announcements. I've got a bunch of these today. This is one of those meetings where we just have lots of business to take care of. So bear with me. I'll try to get through it as quickly as possible. So tonight here at the library upstairs, the Hemet Valley Arts Association is having their Evening of Art event, and Diamond Valley Writers Guild will have a table there where we can sell our book. If any of our members are available tonight, contact me immediately. If you'd like to participate, it's from 6 to 9. I have to get your name on the list so they don't charge you at the door. And we'd love to have people so we can switch out and we won't have to have the same 2 people there for 4 hours tonight. But we do have some volunteers, but if you're interested in participating tonight, contact me right away. On May 1st, we've been given a booth at the Cinco de Mayo Festival here in Hemet, and it's sponsored by the Rotary Club at Rotary Ranch. And it's going to be great, I think. Lots of vendors, food vendors, different people selling things, and we're going to have a booth there. And that's also, we're looking for volunteers to help set up, tear down, and man that booth as well. Other things that are not Guild involved or that are happening right now, the Green Coalition of the San Jacinto Valley is hosting a spoken word Earth Day event on Sunday, April 26th. That's next Sunday, from 10 to 2 at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Hemet and San Jacinto. That being said, they're looking for poets. If you are interested in participating, I have the address and information, happy to get it to you, and the contact number of who you need to text to get on the list. That also is happening with the Inland Empire California Writers Club this month. On the 4th Saturday is their meeting, and it's in Ontario at the, what's the name of it? Thank you, Orvit Family Community Center. And you don't have to be a member to attend or read at that event. And it's going to be next Saturday from 10 to 12. And you can contact Sam Nichols. Again, you can look them up, but it's iecaliforniawritersclub@gmail.com. Again, if you're needing information, email the Guild, I'll get it to you. 2 things that happen that are peripheral are kind of sister organizations, reciprocal organizations, are Temecula Valley Writers and Illustrators. Their meeting is tomorrow. It's in Temecula at the City Hall offices right downtown. Fun group of people, lots of artists, filmmakers. It's not just, writers. It's a lot of different artistic endeavors, photographers, and they meet once a month as well. Usually it's the day after our meeting, unless it's a kind of a strange calendar where it falls odd on the weekends. But they're always the 3rd Sunday. And they are meeting again tomorrow in Temecula. And Writers Coffee House meets on the 1st Sunday in San Diego at Mysterious Galaxy Book Club. It's a long drive for those of us who are local here in the Valley, but it can be worth it, particularly if you've got work completed and you're trying to kind of plug in on the best way to get published, find an agent, what's happening in the publishing industry. That is hosted usually by Jonathan Mayberry, who was our speaker last month. And it's open to all writers from 12 to 3. It's just walk into the bookstore and you're there. So it's a great resource as well. There, did I do okay getting through that as quickly as I could? Okay, we're going to move on to successes. Ooh, one of my favorite parts of the meeting. I like to hear, what has anyone accomplished since the last meeting writing-wise? Have you had a new release on a book? Did you start a new project? Did you hear back from an agent or an editor? Have you submitted something? Did you start, like I said, a story or finish a story? So first off, anyone on Zoom have something that's happened in the last year? Excuse me, the last month that they would like to share? I know Lynette probably does, right? Okay, unmute, go ahead.
I got all my sketches back for my fairy tale, and they are approved and heading to colorization. So we're getting closer. I'm really excited about it.
Yep, and you're looking at releasing prior to Christmas, right?
Yes. Yeah, we are.
Beautiful, beautiful illustrations. She was showing me some drafts the other day. Okay, anyone else on Zoom? Okay, Liam in the room?
Well, yesterday I officially just wrapped up a 7,300 word short story for an open call that I found out about 2 weeks ago. And so I rapidly wrote, edited, and got some great feedback from some people and got it in. And so I just got notice this morning that it was received. And so they'll be looking at it. And I don't know if it's been accepted yet, but I'm just happy I finished it.
Kay, you want to come up? Yeah, you got to come up. You can't just... Oh, you were just happy. Oh, she was glad-handing. Okay. Okay, do you have something, Bob? Come on up. Come on up. Anybody on Zoom while Bob's making his way up that has something to announce? Nobody else? Okay. And by the way, You don't have to be a paid member to announce a success. If you're just participating today and not a paid member and you've accomplished something in the last 30 days, we'll call on you too. Come on, Bob.
Well, I think this fits the bill. I'm going to be doing a lecture in June over at the local theater for the Museum Club. It concerns all the work done up at the Lake Hemet Municipal Spillway from 1923 to presently. So that's taken a lot of research and a lot of putting together, a lot of pictures. It's going to be a fun. I try not to talk dry, as they say. So if you get a chance, keep your eye out. It'll be in June. It's in preparation now. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah, he's not dry at all. In fact, I could listen to his voice like for hours. I don't know about you guys. He's got a great speaking voice. Absolutely. Anybody else on Zoom have something they wish to share? Okay, well then I'll wrap it up with something I have to share. I had a story come out, released in an anthology on Thursday, on the 16th, the Villains Club Anthology. And my story is about a 90-year-old villain in a wheelchair in a retirement home. So it's kind of fun. It runs the gambit. It's a very eclectic book. If you go to my website, mbruce.com, that's mbruce.com, you'll see a link and you can go and you can read about it. It was Divine Publishing, Divine Feminine Publishing was the publisher on it. And so it's just exciting to have another story come out this year. And it's a great cover. I thought I'd have my copy by today and I could hold it up. Darn it, it's going to get here tomorrow or Monday, probably. Also, piggybacking on that, there's a book signing. There's a lot of really great authors in that anthology. Our book signing is on the 23rd of May at Mysterious Galaxy in San Diego. So other authors are Jonathan Mayberry, Dennis Crosby, who is our speaker next month, and a variety of other really, really fabulous stories. I started reading it on Kindle last night, and I was laughing out loud on some of the stuff. It's very lighthearted as well as eclectic group. So that's all of that, unless someone else has another success. Anybody? No? Well, then we're going to move on to our writing tip for this month. And Kay, our resident poet laureate, I would like to call her, has graciously said she's going to give us some tips.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, my congregation of amazing and talented writers. Shall we begin with a word of poetry? You needn't bow your heads. Specifically, Robert Frost's poem, The Pasture. I'm going out to clean the pasture spring. I'll only stop to rake the leaves away and wait to watch the water clear. I may. I shan't be gone long. You come too. I'm going out to fetch the little calf that's standing by the mother. It's so young it totters when she licks it with her tongue. I shan't be gone long. You come too. That's the poem. I love the fact that Frost put this poem at the beginning of his collection of poetry, because although it seems like it's a poem about nature, and by the way, it breaks my heart every time somebody calls him a nature poet, so please don't do that, at least in my hearing. Don't break my heart. Because what I have found in my study of Frost is that he may be writing about nature, yes, but always there's something deeper there. And in this, it's an invitation. He never says who he's talking to. The poet never says who he's addressing when he says, you come too. It's an invitation to all of us. I'm going to go do some cool stuff with nature. You come too. So I'm going to talk a little bit about writing poetry. You come too, even if you don't usually write poetry. And a minute ago, Michelle mentioned a 5-minute writing tip. She didn't mention the 5 minutes last night when she texted me at 10 minutes before I shut off my phone to go to bed at 8 o'clock. LOL, laugh out loud. So I'm going to try to get through this really quickly, so maybe it'll be 10 minutes. Okay. She also didn't mention, she said a poetry tip. She didn't say if it was reading poetry or writing poetry. So for those of you who read poetry but don't write poetry, or those of you that would like to read poetry and understand it, but you're not quite there yet, this is a poem for you. It's by Eve Merriam. It's called How to Eat a Poem. Don't be polite. Bite in. Pick it up with your fingers and lick the juice that may run down your chin. It is ready and ripe now whenever you are. You do not need a knife or fork or spoon or plate or napkin or tablecloth, for there is no core or stem or rind or pith or seed or skin to throw away. That's the whole poem. Yep. I love that one too, because again, like Frost's poem, it distills everything down to saying this. When you're reading a poem, this is what poets do. They take the idea that they want to get across and they distill it into the fewest words they possibly can. Unless they're Edgar Allan Poe. We'll get to that. Okay. So let me give you 3 really quick tips if you want to write poetry, or if you want to write fiction or creative nonfiction, because these will apply there too. Tip 1, give us the picture, the theme, the nugget of truth in as few words as possible. I already said that. Distill everything down to as few words as possible. The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams, very short poem. I'm sure you're familiar. You all read it in high school, right? It goes like this. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. That's the whole poem. If you're me and a college student, you're already thinking, what the heck? How is that a poem? Because he walked out, he saw the scene by his barn. I'm assuming there's a barn. He doesn't mention a barn. There's a red wheelbarrow. It's been raining. It's white. It's shiny. It's red. It's shiny. There's white chickens beside it. That was poetic to him. He wrote that little poem. He distilled everything down and showed you a picture. Unlike Edgar Allan Poe, who starts The Raven like this. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. And there's 17 more stanzas just like that. 108 lines to show us that he's haunted by the death of, what is her name? Lenore, right? We all remember that part. Not quite so distilled down, but we still love that poem. Okay, so try to distill it. Don't quite be Poe unless you're Poe, but don't quite be William Carlos Williams. Tip 2. Say one thing is another thing. If I could tell you anything about poetry and writing poetry, this is what poets do. I'm not very good at it, but I try whenever I write a poem. And by the way, I'm a memoir writer who occasionally writes poems. Say one thing is another thing. That's what the best poetry does. Do this in your fiction and creative nonfiction as well. It's not a peach tree, it's a purveyor of a sweet substance. Right? It's not the moon. It's the pearl that dangles from night's dark tresses. Thank you, Michelle, because last night when I got in bed after you texted me, I was like, I need to come up with a metaphor for the moon, because I couldn't go to sleep last night because I was thinking of what I was going to say. The pearl that dangles from night's dark tresses. Thank you very much. That's mine. Don't steal it. And a fun exercise, by the way, if you want to write poetry or you just want to work on writing better fiction and nonfiction, is to take something simple like the moon, a tree, your dog, and describe that thing with as many different, say that thing is another thing. Think of metaphors and write those down and just make a list. It's a fun brain game for you. Say one thing is another thing. And today when I read one of my poems, I do that in one of my poems, and you can kind of listen for it. Tip 3, leave me with a bit of your heart or soul or mind. I love a narrative poem about a good dog, but at the end, don't just tell me you buried him. Tell me you willingly placed a piece of your heart in the grave with him, and in turn, he filled that space in your heart with a piece of his soul. Sorry. Thinking about my dog. Don't just tell me the tree is beautiful. Tell me it daily reminds you of the cycle of life itself, and that you know autumn is the end of it. And let me know how you feel about death in your poem. That poem will resonate with me because death is a universal experience. And in some way, that's what all good writing is about, our shared experiences. Any questions? Okay.
Okay, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of teared up a couple of times. So that, that, and thanks for calling me out, Kay, publicly like that. I appreciate it. Yes, thank you, Kay. Love you too. Now we're going to move on to the crown jewel of this meeting, which is hearing all of you, hearing the words you created. We got to hear some of Kay's. We're going to hear a few more of Kay's in just a minute. But this is what this is about, is helping inspire you, the members, to write. And hopefully this meeting will do that. Those budding poets or those established poets or the people who randomly think of poetry, thought they'd never want to do it, but maybe, just maybe, we'll walk away from this meeting wanting to give it a try. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this meeting over to Lynette on Zoom. She is our mistress of ceremonies today for our annual celebration of poetry. Lynette?
Thanks, Michelle. I'm so excited everybody's here. And of course, if you pick up a copy of the Menagerie, there we go, you will find that this not only includes short stories, but poetry from our members. So that's very exciting. I'm going to open this up with a poem that I wrote, and I hope it meets Kay's expectations. It's called The Old Cat, and it is written about my yellow cat. We lived in the country. We still live in the country, but at our other residence, we had one summer where the coyotes wiped out 19 of our cats. Was not a pretty sight. But this yellow cat, Donner, he made it to old age, and I wrote a poem about him once he was gone, unfortunately. It says, The Old Cat. I miss the old cat. I miss the way he greeted me each morning on the porch, his tail snapping and his sharp eyes looking me over to be sure I had made it through the night. I miss the old cat. I miss the way he followed me through the garden out to the barn, his cheeks rubbing against the rose bushes and his nose twitching after smelling the peppermint. I miss the old cat. I miss him jumping up on the stall door to get my attention while I fed the horses, his body blocking the doorway, creating shadows on the stall floor. I miss the old cat. He was my friend, my companion, my fellow gatekeeper. I miss his morning meow, his brush against my leg, his looks of disapproval and astonishment. I miss the old cat, and I like to believe he misses me. Okay, are we ready for some more poetry? We're going to start with Erin because she has to scoot out here. And Erin has 2 poems for us. So Erin, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Lynette. Did you want me to answer the 2 questions you mentioned? Okay. So I was thinking back, and this is at least my 3rd time participating in the poetry celebration. It could be the 4th, but I can remember 3 distinct times. And for this particular first poem, this is called Song of Returning. It was written through a prompt from a former poet laureate named Rafi Waratanian in the city of Glendale, California. And he had us listen to Armenian oud music, and I had never heard oud music before. And then he asked us to write a poem in response to that. So this is what I came up with. Song of Returning. Listen, breathe. The wind that flows through the tree grove, branches like instrument strings, humming, reaching to leaves, blurred tovish green clouds. My drumbeat pace alternates across a gravel path, traces dancers traveling beyond the horizon, their graceful spins, sways, tips, and pause. My body and mind now also silent. I press my feet to continue, retracing a path from decades before to uncover the unheard steps of returning home. And I'll just mention briefly that this was published in Jewel City Review originally last year. My second poem is a little bit longer, but free verse like the first poem. It's called Season, and this was originally published in Stirring Lit last year. And this particular poem, it goes back to a memory I have of being, I think, about 11 years old. And back at that particular time and where we lived in a small town, it was very common to be let loose for a day in the summer, to wander around the town because everybody knew you. It was a town of 2,000 people essentially, and it was pretty safe back then. So this is somewhat nostalgic, and it's a poem about my friend and myself who were doing, whatever we chose, basically unchaperoned during a summer day. Season. Wheels rumble across crack-splitting sidewalks as cornfields fade like mirages. I'm 11, you're 12. Mismatched allowance jingles, crushing the babysitting dollars shoved into our shorts pockets, saved for a summer afternoon of opportunity. After school's loose-leaf letters, our first cursive scrawls and stabs at expressionist drawings, whirl of ballpoint pens across pages with and beyond words. Today is not self-conscious. It's a feast of comics and scented stickers, slapping down quarters for Cokes with every syrup flavor as our rollerblades propel us home for an evening with leftover sparklers and finishing each other's sentences. No trace of next year, when you will run across the field to new friends, looking through me like a glass pane. But we had today. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Those were wonderful. And I can remember days in the summer when I was a kid and having that freedom. So brought back good memories there. Our next poet is going to be Kay Murphy. So Kay, take it away.
I just want to give a quick shout out to the poets who were brave enough to read their poetry today. It's one thing to write, and as Michelle mentioned earlier, it's kind of a lonely thing, writing. And it's one thing to write poetry in isolation. It's another thing to have the courage to get up in front of everybody while you're thinking always the worst thing is going to happen. You're going to trip and fall, you're going to forget, you're going to stumble over your words, which I do frequently. But we carry on, And so shout out to all of you that somehow summoned the courage to read your poetry today. Sometimes, and the vast majority of my poems are written in a standing position, in the morning in a notebook that sits on my kitchen island because I'm usually making tea or breakfast or appeasing the cat or the dogs. And I keep the notebook there in case something strikes me. This poem that I'm about to read started that way. Sometimes the poem commandeers my pen. I wanted to write a poem just about this moment, and the poem commandeered my pen, and it kept going, and some words came out that I wasn't expecting, and then when it was all finished later, I looked at it and went, whoa. You might too. Excuse me. The poem is Before Dawn. The bright comfort of the kitchen light while the windows are still black dark. The warm pleasure and assurance of wakefulness with the first sip of tea. The enduring patience of the dogs as they await their breakfast. The endearing insistence of the cat as she demands to be fed first. The quiet of the house so deep the crack of an egg becomes a shout of hope. I stand immured within the safety of this bubble, clutching the illusion that somehow today will be different, that as the light grows stronger, people will rally, that as the sun advances heroic, it will lead an army of individuals who care and act. Leave me to my tea and toast and egg consumed in silence over the sink. In the darkness, I still believe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kay. I love the morning hours, so that really brings me to kind of a thought of how I spend my mornings and how I get my day started. So that was really awesome. Aiden von Weckman is up next. I believe Aiden is having either Jessica or Sophia read for him because he couldn't be with us. Is that right?
That's right. Hello.
Oh, good. Thank you, Sophia.
Hi. So yeah, unfortunately, Aiden is working at the moment. I do believe that he's listening in on the Zoom call though. So hi, Aiden. So I'll read the first poem that he has, and then Jessica will read the second poem. So I actually have a little, sorry, I'm nervous because this poem's really good and I don't want to mess it up. So I have a little introduction here from Aiden about this poem. And it says, inspiration can strike in the strangest of places, and this poem's inspiration struck during a 12-hour security shift I had a few months ago. I simply had a thought, and suddenly I was rapidly writing. I ended up finishing the rough draft of the poem during that shift. This is adjacently inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart. Enjoy. P.S. This is my third time participating in Diamond Valley Writers Guild annual poetry reading. Yay! So this poem is titled Autonomous Cell. The torchlight casts a dreary shadow across the dungeon, leaving just an oddly dusty glow to see my prison. I lie on a well-made cot, yet I feel tears and mold in the fabric that agitate like platitudes. The walls pulse with breath unsteady, a once controlled, concise rhythm, occasionally skipping a beat. The steady water drips from the roof with a heavy lethargy that rings clear in my ears, but I cannot see the water fall. Iron chains that coil like veins cling, bolted to steel hooks like joints, though where a shine used to reflect, now it dulls. I choose not to peer beyond the cold bars. My mind always remembers the empty nothingness that's always there. There is no door to the cell, no exit, no escape. Yet in my hands, I hold a key. I ignore all the contradictions from what I used to know, what everything used to be. I don't look. I never look. I'm afraid it'll all collapse. The ceiling will be dry, the cot will be rotten, the walls silent, the chains rusted. And worst of all, past the bars, I'm afraid it won't be empty. I'm afraid there'll be sunlight, a field of flowers, a slow breath of contentment. There's no door, no exit, no escape. But I still hold a key in my hand. What happens when I unlock a door that can't exist? The contradiction of reality reigns over my mind like a plague, a sick vertigo infecting every sense I have until everything is consumed by unending questions. How do I know that the key is even real? How do I know the door isn't real? How do I put the key into the door's lock? Is there even a lock? Do I have to unlock the door? Do I have a choice to use the key? Do I deserve to unlock the door? Who decides what I deserve? What if the key doesn't even fit? What if the door doesn't lead to anywhere? What if I head straight into the void? What if I try and nothing changes? Every thought is spellbound on what could happen to ensure it never does. I close my eyes, and for once, against every hard-edged, frayed instinct, I decide to hope. I hope the key fits and leads to that other side, to the sun shining down on the flowers, a contentment filling me, a feeling of belonging like nothing I could have understood before. I hope, for the first time, that there is a door, that there is an exit, that there is an escape, and I feel the key slide into the lock and turn.
Thank you so much, Sophia, for reading that. Aiden, wonderful. I love how Edgar Allan Poe keeps coming up in this discussion. I think that you caught the mood there. That's really awesome. Greg Porterfield, you are up. And Greg is one of our longtime poets and longtime members, so I'm really excited to hear what he's going to share with us today.
Well, I just hope we don't disappoint you. You know, the older we all get, the more we can't remember things that we used to know real clearly. People, places, things. The fact that you open a drawer or a cupboard and you were really wanting to put something in the microwave to heat, stuff like that, you know, it's going to happen to all of us sooner or later, the older we get, or sometimes depending on just how stoned we are or drunk. But this one I'm going to read here is the Forgotten Ones. I wrote it just this past year. It's fairly recent. Forgotten ones arrive in darkness and stormy nights. Trying to recall the moment of our first meeting, they dance, hop, and laugh at our confusion. Staring into the darkness, the pieces align. Drifting in waves, bouncing in and out of focus, we begin to see them for who they are. Forgotten ones are masked in familiar scenes, offering few clues to their true nature. Old habits and odd tales repeat time and again. In vain, we search for answers never found. Trades and tradesmen, friends and lovers, all travel together through the mist. Four-legged friends appear and vanish. Short scenes and pleasant memories fill the best of our dreams. Confused in our struggle to remember, the way is lost, the pathway littered by these highways and missed opportunities. All are remembered in bits and pieces. Departures on slow trains and speeding planes become strange themes in plodding stories. Whirling blades hover above our heads. They are soon drowned out by the sounds and scenes that play upon the ground below. The forgotten ones vanish in the fog. We struggle to sharpen the vision, filled with blowing trees and missing pieces. Shudders and gasps fill our slumber, and twisting beneath the sheets, we try to remember the forgotten ones.
Thank you, Greg. I love how you captured So many different pieces there, some things that maybe younger people can appreciate, and some of us that are getting a little bit older, like, well, that's a little too close to home sometimes. Wonderful poem. Next up is Albion Chamberlain. And I don't know, is Albion in the room? Yep.
Yes,
okay,
he's
good.
making his way to the mic now. It's Albin.
Okay, good. I probably should change my view so I can see everybody better. Great. There you go, Albion.
This was written in response to a writing prompt to begin a poem or story with the word hello. So the title of this is A Message from Audacity. Hello, hola, good morning, buenos dias. Friends, amigos, you don't know me, but I know so much about your strange species. We've been watching you. That may sound creepy, but we wish you no harm. We don't wish to invade you. My name is Shirash, the pilot of our exploratory vessel, Audacity of the proud Solution Federation. We Solutions are a curious species and always hungry. We boldly go in search of new foods. You probably wouldn't notice our craft in orbit around your world since we're barely 3 meters long. You wouldn't be intimidated by our species size since we're only 50 centimeters in length. You would think that we were merely long banana slugs, but have the densest brains in a known galaxy. We live to eat and eat to live. We're basically harmless foodies, but don't dismiss our power. There are some matters we'd like to understand about your species before we decide to land. You're obviously one species, but why do you have so many languages, nations, and cultures down there? We Solutions have one language, culture, and government. It makes it easier to trade our resources. Looking at your continent from above, we see no border between what you call Mexico and USA. Still, you insist on placing an artificial border there to prevent your people and resources from moving. Why so many governments and agencies when one would serve your species better and cost far less? Why does your species fight wars that destroy resources as fast as they can be produced? Why put monetary barriers on free trade of resources your 3 nations need to thrive? Why can't your people move about across those artificial borders when they need to work and eat? Why do you make your food more expensive to buy with your high tariffs and custom fees? Why do you have so many barriers to immigration when it is essential for your species' prosperity? Why do you promote so much food consumption that make it so expensive for your poor? In our federation, every Slush eats well since there are no taxes on the food we buy. We'd love to land Audacity somewhere on your continent and share some Slushian foods and recipes. Still, from what we've heard and seen from your transmissions, it's too frightful for our kind down there. I know you'd consider us aliens, but would we be illegal aliens if we land our craft? We'd love to try some spicy tacos or the loaded hamburgers you are always promoting there. Still, if your planet is as frightful as we have observed from your news, we may just journey onward. We live to eat and eat to live, though not as scary and chaotic planets like yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a great twist because I expected it to be like a calling to tell you your car warranty was expiring. But you went and took it to science fiction, and I love that. If you are not familiar, check out the Science Fiction Poetry Association because I think you would fit right in. Thank you for sharing that. Our next poet up is Bob Norman, and I believe he's in the room.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought he was after Aiden, but he's getting up now. Hold on.
Okay, so it's 2026, another election year will be. So this is a poem, and it does not take any sides. Might call it a little bit cynical, or a lot. It's called Our Best Candidates. There is this thing called humble pie, and I'm not talking about the old rock band. It's a slice of humanity served you when you overplay your hand. There are a number of people that know its taste quite well, and still there are others out there that have yet to get a whiff of its smell. But their time is coming, of that there's no doubt. Their self-perceived legions of believers may well turn out a voteless drought. So come you braggart liars, huff and puff and spout. We'll sit with smiles and listen, although we've feeling it's without doubt. A lie is a tool to be handled with care, but more often than not, it's overplayed by those blowing hot air. A storytelling man can tie a lie to a legend's core. However, a man lying to sell himself is just a tasteless bore. So belly up, bragging and lying all that you have done and seen. There's interest in that. We find it kind of keen. But if it's a vote you're telling your best lie for, you ain't ate half enough of that pie. You need a little more. Every 4th and 6th year, real storytellers take a break so we can listen to amateurs seal their pitiful fate. There just don't seem to be enough a humble pie to go around when them fools calling themselves our best candidates come to town. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bob. And apparently I can't read my own list. Aiden is next, and I believe Jessica is going to read his next poem.
Hello. So to add a little bit more context to Aiden's absence, he is currently out in Indio at the Coachella Music Festival, not partying. He's catching people jumping over the fence, tackling them to the ground and kicking them out. So he's doing much more important work than we are here today, but he still wanted to participate. So when he came to me as one of my best friends in the whole wide world and said, "Will you read this poem?" I said, "Absolutely not." And here I am reading it for him. He has a little blurb about this one titled Hopeless Romantic. He said, "I really like writing poetry in free form. I feel that the emotions behind the poem itself should reflect the type of format the poem is written in, and I enjoy the process of developing that form as I write. That being said, this is a weird one. I came up with this poem's format listening to a room ceiling fan making an odd noise. Enjoy. P.S. Once again, this is my 3rd time participating in the poetry reading, in case Sophia missed reading it in the first time. Hopeless Romantic. Tink, tink, tink. Absent-mindedly clicking the glass as the condensation melts. My eyes lock with yours. Feet move, mouths flirt, hands roam, feeling soars. Pick, 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 pick. Morning light floats into the kitchen, catching nails pinging against the countertop. Soft smiles dance with each other without any stop. Clink, 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 clink. Silverware slips through meat to hit porcelain, sharp sounds ringing all around. Conversation flows like illuminated clouds passing by the moon, this feeling new found. Tick, 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 tick. Awake before the mechanical rooster crows, imprinting sleeping beauty in my mind as the clock goes. You have captured my heart wholly, lock and key. As for my muse, I will write prose after prose. Tap, 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 tap. My nerves pace like the ocean, back and forth, as my shoe thumps again and again. Time marches on with relentless authority, and without a star of the show, doubt begins to link chain by chain. Clink, clink, clink. My hands fiddle a coin as I sit at the table like I was in a hospital, expecting bad news. While I wait for boots to thump, keys to jangle, a lock to turn, anything from my dearest muse. Cling, 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 cling. The wind blows through chimes overhead as words spoken between us begin to take a turn. Over the barbs thrown from us both, I smell the air filled with ash as my love begins to burn. Foomp, foomp. Her clothes are thrown without care in a bag, the quiet anger reverberating in the hall. I nurse a drink and think, as if to ascertain when everything spiraled into a downfall. Tap, tap, tap. Distantly, I clack my fingers on the empty glass, eyes unfocused on the bar. Before I request another, alcohol numbs, eyes sting, heart broken. I walk back alone. Thank you.
That was lovely. I love how you captured the mechanical rooster. I think that's kind of what Kay was talking about, trying to redefine things and still have your reader know what you're talking about. Very nice. Thank you. Next up is Albion, Fireflies in a Bottle.
I'm not sure where this poem came from, but once I wrote the first two lines, it just wrote itself. Can you tell me, Grandpa, why so many people write poems? I'm never at a loss for words, no matter where I roam. But now I was unsure of what words I could say to this boy. This frustrated me since there are so many in my mind I could employ. I realized it was because there are many reasons scribes turn to poetry. There are poems of love and loss, joy found in nature, and anger at some harsh reality. There are as many reasons to write a poem, to create a poem, as there are messages that need to be heard. The only common element involved is the employment of the written human word. Suddenly an explanation hit me. I said, child, they're trying to capture fireflies in a bottle. You see, most words just fly by us like cars on the freeway, moving at full throttle. Then we hear some that tell a wondrous story and ring with a perfect sound. Poets reach for the pen by pure instinct to capture it while it's still around. It's exactly as I did as a child trying to capture firefly wonder in a jar. I couldn't bear the thought of them flying out of my sight so very far. I thought that in that bottle, the beauty would always be there. I didn't think about the captured fireflies or how they would fare. Now, we don't consider words to be living, but we try to make them so by writing. It's just like that jar full of fireflies with its wonderful interior lighting. A poet hopes that by writing his thoughts, they'll be trapped like fireflies to be seen another time. Still, nothing living can be trapped forever, as we writers far too often sadly find. Still, writing is the only way we can pass our spoken or imagined words into another generation. We hope that those future people will use them to improve their as yet unseen civilization. Ideas like beauty, truth, and love can be captured like those fireflies in a jar. It wouldn't be such a tragedy. It would be such a tragedy if they disappeared on their strong wings, now gone too far. Son, I hope you'll understand my somewhat lengthy explanation. I could always try to write it down on paper for your future examination. Oh, there I go again, trying to capture my thoughts using the written word. It's my natural desire to ensure that these fleeting words will later be heard. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful imagery there. We have two more poets left. Next up is Greg Porterfield.
Well, I guess my first one wasn't so bad. You let me do another one. A lot of us grew up with formal poetry when we were in school. Everything had to be rhyming in the first and third line or the second and fourth line, or, all tied together. nursery rhymes became incredibly important to us to learn about this fascinating world of poetry. But it's bigger than just nursery rhymes and rhyming words. I found that I'm attracted somewhat to free verse, which is what I've heard a lot of here today, and it's probably a little more contemporary. But there's everything out there, and if you have an interest in writing poetry, write it. See what happens. If it rhymes, great. If it doesn't, great. It's the feel that comes across from your words that makes all the difference in the word. This next one, you find stuff. I was cleaning out the garage the other day. I'll tell you, you find folders of stuff, notebooks of stuff. I found a scrap of paper that was in amongst a bunch of stuff from 1998. So this has been a few years back when this was originally written. It's called Simple Cloth, Common Thread. Seek out the quiet places where the wild grasses wave in the soft breeze of spring. Visit scenes of trees and grass and sky where the many marvels of man can be forgotten in the moment. Seek out the quiet places, alive with wonders, great and small, as sunlight filters through the leaves above. Sounds of birds and buzzing insects fill the air, and the whisper of tall grasses bend as you approach. Seek out the quiet places where a welcoming shade provides a cool space to enjoy. Seek out the quiet places and remember. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think sometimes we can look at poetry as being our quiet place that we seek out. Our final poet today is going to be S.K. Murphy, and I think that is going to be just the right person to wrap us up today. So take it away, Kay.
That's nice, Lynette. Thank you. A couple of quick side notes. I love Greg's poem about forgetting. So, true story, I was desperately trying to find a word this morning as I was at 5 a.m. trying to do my notes for the 5-minute tip. That's okay, I got up at 4:30, so it's already up for a half an hour. Why not do that while I drank my tea? I'm to that point. I don't see anybody in this room who is to that point that Greg was talking about where you forget words, except for me. But I forgot a word and I knew the word and I was looking for the word, and it's a word I've had before to talk about what you do with poetry, and I couldn't think of it, and I didn't have time to go and look for synonyms of all the things that I was thinking because I had to do these notes and walk the dog and get ready, etc., etc. And so my plan B is always call a friend. And so on the way down here, driving from Calamasa down through Lambs Canyon, I was on the phone with my friend Jeanette going, I need a word. It's not condensed. It's not reduced. She goes, okay, I'm reading synonyms. Is it this, it this, it this? Is it distill? Yes. Oh my goodness. It's distill. And this is the thing. My mother used to get so frustrated when she was the age I am now. Oh my God, that's so scary. She gets so frustrated because she'd say, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. And she's like, help me out. She would always say that, help me. I don't know what word you're looking for, Mom. I'm sorry. And it was frustrating and upsetting to her. It's not to me, it's amusing to me because I always have that plan B. So if you forget a word, just have that one friend that you can call and go, I need this word. Help me out. She's got Perplexity on her phone, and she's got a synonym finder. She'll help you out. True story. Also, quick side note, I've mentioned this before. I'm just going to keep hounding you. I'm sorry. Cascadia Poetics Lab every August does the Postcard Poetry Fest. So if you sign up, it's $25. The money goes to helping students learn poetry or become better poets. If you sign up, then at the beginning of August, you're given a list of 31 people who are also writing a poem a day for the month of August. Don't ask me why they do it in August. They don't do it in April. April is National Poetry Month. I don't know the answer to that. You can ask them. But I started it a few years back, and I absolutely love doing it. It's a love-hate, oh my God, I got to write another poem today. And they have to be short enough to go in a postcard. That's difficult for me because I have to distill everything into 8 or 10 or 12 lines. And if I really want to cheat, I type it out and put it in really small font and then tape it on the postcard. So it's a really, really neat exercise. Again, it's Cascadia Poetics Lab. You can go on their website. You can sign up now. And then in the end of July, you'll get a list of people, write a poem a day. It's not that hard. And you get every day postcards in the mail. It's lovely with little poems and all that stuff. Okay. This poem started to be a poem for Postcard Poetry Fest. And then it, again, once again, the poem commandeered my pen. The title of this poem is When Autumn Begins. When autumn begins. You can see the relief reflected in the trees. There was all that fecund fun of spring, the hormonal changes brought on by light and warmth, exciting the xylem, quivering through all the limbs. Then summer came on with all its possibilities for growth, along with its demanding schedule, its relentless heat on torturously long days, the trees waiting, breathless for the dust of spring's dreams, lying heavy on the leaves to be scrubbed clean by the chance of a monsoon. There is blessed rest now in the longer nights of autumn, in the quelling of past seasons, natural urges. Trees from long experience know that death will be a part of this next transition. There's no fear in it, only a reaching upward toward whatever the next season brings. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much to all our poets today. I think we had a really good selection of different feelings and vibes, and I appreciate all of you for participating. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Lynette, as always, for organizing and emceeing and having a love for poetry to dive in and take care of this one meeting a year for sure. I very much appreciate all of your contributions to the Guild for years and years and years. So we have reached the end of our April Poetry Celebration of Poetry meeting early. It's funny because on these live reading meetings, we never quite know. Sometimes we're looking at the clock and we're down to 30 seconds and trying to get out of here at 11:30. And other times we get done a little bit early, but that gives us a little chance to network after the meeting, talk to one another, get to know each other, maybe make some connections. Next month, on May 16th is our next meeting, and we're going to be hosting Dennis K. Crosby. He has presented to us in the past, a couple years ago. He did a wonderful presentation on private investigation because he used to be a private investigator. Oh my gosh, was he full of a wealth of information from the trenches, not what you see in movies or read in books, but actual information from the horse's mouth. Well, this time, another horse's mouth presentation, networking for introverts. Apparently he's an introvert. You wouldn't know it sometimes, but apparently he is. And he basically says from first draft to final draft, a writer works with a very select few individuals. All that changes as you near publication and beyond. As a writer, you now must market your work and yourself. That's a tough job. It can be even tougher when you're an introvert. In this workshop, he'll cover learn your introvert type and natural abilities, how to grow your readership naturally. Extroverts are welcome, by the way. Dennis is an author, editor, speaker, and workshop leader with an MFA in creative writing. Since 2020, he has published 3 urban fantasy novels in his award-winning Cassidy Simmons series and 19 short stories found in multiple anthologies. I think it just hit number 20 with Villains Club because we're in the same anthology together. And that's it, 9:30 in this room, 1 month from, it's not exactly today, so it's the 16th instead of the 18th. So please come and share that meeting with us. It should be fun. I've actually seen him do this presentation about a year ago. It's really fun. So you need to be here. Couple closing reminders. If you've liked what you've seen today and you're not already a member, see the lady in the back. She's the one with the purse strings. $30 to join. If you're a high school or college student, it's only $10 and $15 respectively. We also have copies of Menagerie, which is our anthology, and it was the Guild's first anthology. It took us only 10 years to get around to that. To our credit, we did have it for 6 years, a magazine online. But now an actual anthology, and Vanna White in the back is holding it up. So that's $15, is that correct? I think it's $15 for that if you want to buy a copy, if you would like to. A lot of the poets that were featured today do have work, different work than what was read today in the anthology. So we have a wealth of talent in our organization. And that's really about it. You had a question, Angie?
I wanted to make an announcement.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
More of a plea for involvement. I have taken on the large task of doing a scale model of the downtown of my hometown of Winchester. It's 1 to 100 scale, so it's 55 feet square. And I am looking for people who are interested in perhaps building some model historic buildings like the train station or the church or other things. So if any of you are modelers or would like to share the opportunity with a friend, I would love the help.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you. Very involved in her community, but also Hemet Sanaceno, but Winchester is her hometown, which if you blink, you drive right through it. So, anyway, but that is quite an undertaking. If you want more information on that, email the Guild. I'll put you in contact directly with Angie. And let's see, I think that's probably it. Thank you all for being here. We do adjourn and go to Emilio's. Everyone is welcome to attend. I don't think that those of you on Zoom, some of you won't be able to make it in time. Sorry. Even if you jumped on an airplane today. So, but we'll see you all next week. Thank you all for coming.